again, welcome to In the Kitchen with Chris. Today we're going to be making a warm apple tart for you. The ingredients are very simple. We've got butter, flour, salt, apples, sugar, and cinnamon. Very simple recipe. Anybody can do it. Let me show you how. First of all, you're going to take your all-purpose flour. Now remember, in the world of baking, we use different flours for different things. This is all-purpose flour, so it produces a nice, delicate, flaky crust. Then you're going to take your butter, which I've cut up into 1-inch chunks right here. We add it in, and the first thing you do is cut the butter in. And I'm going to do this by hand. You could also do this with a pastry knife. You could also do this on the mixer. I'm just going to do it by hand because it's more fun. You take your butter and your flour and you squeeze it all together until it resembles cornmeal. Or if you want just a little larger, like peas, that will make a flakier crust. If you keep cutting the butter until it resembles cornmeal, it will make a more mealy crust. It'll be a little tougher in your mouth when you eat it, but it will absorb less moisture as it bakes. So the choice is yours. And if you let the butter soften just a little bit like I've done here, you can see that this is going relatively quickly, and I'm about 3/4 of the way done already. One thing I want to tell you about making pie doughs, because this is essentially a pie dough right here. The more water you add, the tougher the crust. So if I added no water at all to this, it would be extremely tender. But I'm going to be adding a little bit of water because it makes the dough easier to work. All right, this is just about done. And now we're going to add our salt and our water and just a little bit of cinnamon. So wipe your hands off. Just take a little bit of the cinnamon, sprinkle it on top. One of the things that a lot of bakers do is they add a little bit of flavoring in and on things. Like we're putting a little cinnamon in the dough, we're also going to put a little cinnamon on the apples. Bakers do that all the time. It's a trick of the trade. This is salt and water. So we'll add most of the water, but I want to see how the dough works without adding all the water yet, because sometimes it's better if you don't add all the water, depending on the humidity in the air. Okay, so now you can see I have a basic pie dough, and it's sticking to my fingers. And what we're going to do next is take this pie dough, and we are going to refrigerate it. You can see how it's very sticky, and it's sticking to my fingers a lot. If I was to try and roll this out right now, I would have an extremely difficult time. So what I want you to do is take this dough and make it into a little ball, if you will, maybe a kind of a flat ball. Pick it up here, okay? And then we're going to put this on a pan with a little bit of flour and a little bit of plastic wrap, and then we're going to put it in the freezer for about 10 minutes or so. This will make the dough stiff, and it'll be very easy to roll out. Now we've got our chilled tart dough ready to go. Try saying that 3 times fast. And we're going to roll this into our 10-inch tart pan. This is a fluted tart pan. You can buy one of these at the store if you like. They're very inexpensive. And the fluting in the edge makes it very decorative when it's done baking. Take a rolling pin and a little bit of flour, sprinkle it on top of your dough, and roll it out so it is about 1/4 of an inch thick. All right? A little thinner is fine. Thicker than 1/4 of an inch is bad, because if the dough is too thick, you will not be able to cut it with a fork when you eat it. If your dough is too big, you have too much like this. I'm cutting some of it away, as you can see, so it doesn't fall on the floor in front of all of you at home. And now, here's a little trick of the trade. Put a little flour on top, and again, throw it to one side. Put a little flour on the bottom. If the dough sticks to your cutting board, or if you have marble, that's even better, you're going to have a problem because you will not be able to get it into the tart pan because it's going to stick. So, as you can see here, I've got this about 1/4 of an inch. Let's make it perfectly flat. Here's the trick of the trade. Take your rolling pin, and you put it on one side, start your dough on top of the pin, roll it up gently, just like this. Hold on to it with one hand. Take your tart pan, bring it over, and now we unroll it right on top of the tart pan. There we go. Now you take your fingers and you press it down, If you notice, I'm gently lifting around the edge so that the dough goes into the 90-degree angle of the corner. So lift it up gently and go all the way around. And as you can see, the dough is actually, when I press on the top, the dough is actually breaking itself right off perfectly right where you want it. You could also take the rolling pin and go on the top once too. Some people do that. Doesn't really matter. Take your excess dough, remove it, put it on the side, and now you're going to take your tart pan. And with my thumb, I'm going all the way around to make sure the dough is all the way in the bottom corner. Because if not, when you go to cut this, it won't look perfect. And we're always shooting for perfection here. All right, this is ready to go. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to take our apples and we're going to slice them, peel them, and slice them, and then put them in here. And I'll show you how you do that. Take your tart dough and put it to the side. This is a Granny Smith apple. Let me give my board a quick wipe here. This is a Granny Smith apple, which is what I chose. I think it tastes fairly tart. Cut the bottom and top of your apple with a knife. Take your vegetable peeler and peel the apple. And again, I would say that this size, this is a 10-inch tart pan. This will take probably about 6 apples or so, depending on how much apple you want inside of it. As you can see, I'm peeling the apple all the way around. Make sure you get all the little bits. Now, here is what I think is the fastest way to cut up an apple for a tart like this. Take your knife, cut it in half. All right, then you've got 2 slices, 2 halves, and then cut it one more time so your apple's in quarters. Lay your apple on its side, take the knife, and on a slight angle, go in, and then you have the core removed on your knife. Put it to the side, and you repeat that all 4 times for the apple. Okay, and again, cut it in quarters. Take your knife, do this on a cutting board. Don't do this in the air, you may cut yourself. And then you have the core and the seeds removed, and you have just apple. So now what we're going to do is take our apple, and with a knife, and I'll do this fairly slowly, is you just make a series of 1/4 inch cuts, just like this. And then we're going to put them inside of the apple tart. So we move our tart back here to the middle. And you take your slices and you shingle them inside of the tart, just like this. Now we have our apple tart with all of the shingled, sliced apples inside of it, and you can see it's ready to go. Now we're going to take some sugar and some cinnamon and put it on top. But first you have to see how sweet those apples are. This is the best part. Take an apple wedge, and you have to taste it. They're a little on the tart side, so we're going to add just a little extra sugar. So, take your granulated sugar, sprinkle all over the top of the apples. You want to try and get as much of the apple as possible. You'll find that the sugar will caramelize slightly, and it'll look a little bit better if you hit all of the surface of the apple. Then we're going to take a little cinnamon, just a little, sprinkle a little all over the top. And then this is ready for the oven. When this comes out of the oven, we're going to put an apricot glaze on top, sprinkle a little bit of pistachios, and then it's ready to enjoy. So let's put this in the oven. When you're handling a tart pan, make sure you support the bottom and the sides. If you just hold on to the center, it may pop right through because there's a removable disc in the bottom of this pan. Our warm apple tart is ready, so we're going to take it out of the oven, and then we're going to put some apricot glaze and pistachios on it. It's ready to eat. Apricot glaze can be bought at any local supermarket. It's by all of the fillings. What you do is you warm it up any way you want. You could warm it in a microwave. You can see I put some right here in a little bowl and put it on direct heat. Warm it up any way you want. Doesn't matter. And then you very gently brush it on top of your tart. This does a couple things. It adds a little flavor to your apple tart, and it also helps keep your apples moist, or whatever fruit you use, and it makes it very shiny. So it does more than a few things. Okay, so you take that, and you can see, didn't take very much, doesn't take very long at all. Put a little bit on the crust, on the edge, make that pretty. And then you take pistachio nuts, and you sprinkle a little bit of chopped pistachio nuts on top, just a little. If you put on too much, that's all you're going to taste. But if you put on just a little bit, then people will say, what is that flavor I taste? And they can't quite put their finger on it. So, let your apple tart cool just a little bit, pop it out of the pan, cut it up, serve it to your guests, and enjoy.